Behind home plate, we bringing it to them all day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation Baltimore Sports Talk. I am your Indian host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by the button lover, Josh Soroka.
Hey, Matt, some nice Christmas wreaths in your background.
Yeah, I see a nice little Christmas tree in your background as well.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Has anyone wished you a Merry Christmas yet? Have you gotten your first Merry Christmas yet?
Oh, that's a good question. I do not believe so.
What about a Happy New Year? Not yet?
No Happy New Year yet. I do not think a Merry Christmas yet either.
Okay, yeah, I haven't got one either.
There may have been a Happy Holidays when I was out shopping.
Okay. I don't think I haven't really been out shopping. I got some Happy Thanksgiving.
But that would have been a pre-Thanksgiving thing.
Yeah, but not specifically Christmas.
Right.
Yeah. I've been fishing for them too.
Oh, really? How do you fish for a Merry Christmas?
What's that?
How do you fish for a Merry Christmas?
Well, you just see someone, you maybe invite someone to your house. We have the poinsettias over there. We got all the Christmas decorations. And so you see all that, you look at them, and you say, hey, and then you kind of glance around at all the decorations, hoping that they would put it together and say, Merry Christmas. But they don't so far. They just say hi.
Well, yeah, maybe you say Merry Christmas first, and then they'll say Merry Christmas back.
I like to keep the ball in their court. I don't like saying it first.
Okay, so you want someone to, on their own, address you with a specific phrase that some people think is like politically charged or whatever because it says Christmas.
Well, no, and I always text Xmas all the time. I text Xmas, I don't even care. But I
think that's still acknowledging Christmas instead of all of the holidays of December.
Oh! I thought because I wasn't putting Christ in there, it was.
Right. That's a different thing. That's the war on Christmas where you are Xing out Christ.
Yes, that's where I was going with it. You're right. We also have to include other holidays. That's fair. So Happy Holidays is appropriate because there's too many. If you do the Kwanzaa, the Hanukkah, the Christmas, that's a little bit lengthy for a high.
Right. That's why Happy Holidays comes to play.
Yeah.
But no, I have not gotten.
What about in
holiday.
church? Can you say Merry Christmas in church, or just stick with Happy Holidays? You just don't know. They could be visiting.
No. At church, you're safe to say Merry Christmas. I haven't been to church in December yet.
Okay. So I'm not going to ask you if you guys do the Advent thing.
No, but no.
Because that's a thing now.
I know.
We're not to do the Advent.
I know. When I visited your home last Sunday, I brought up the Advent discussion to you.
I know, and I didn't even realize it. And then I was at church this morning, and they were like, we're doing this thing for the second week of Advent. I was like,
right.
And then
you were like, okay, it is a thing.
And then I got on Facebook, and I saw, I don't want to mention any names, but I'm friends with a former member. I'm friends with the church we used to go to in Maryland.
Oh, yeah. They have banned Advent.
Yeah, and this post was he was upset that they weren't doing Advent.
Yes.
And then I read the discussion. It was like 30 comments over this Advent thing. I was like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah, no, it is a thing.
Yeah.
I believe last year that church banned it, and that's when I learned all about it. Like I knew Advent. Advent's been around our whole life.
Right. We've been doing Advent, lighting those candles.
Right. Exactly.
Since we were kids.
Hope, joy, peace.
Yeah.
And what's the center candle?
Christ.
Yeah, there you go. I was hoping you were going to get that one wrong.
No. Yeah, we did peace today. We lit the candle of peace.
But it's funny. We jump in here and we go 5 minutes talking Christmas. And the Orioles gave us 2 gifts yesterday.
That's right. We found out who will pinch hit for Jackson Holliday with runners on in the 9th inning.
Oh, see, I was thinking we found out who would platoon with Heston Kjerstad in right field.
That's right. But on days when he's not platooned, he will come in as a pinch hitter for whoever's up in the lineup, Kerstedt or Holiday,
Yes.
or maybe Gunner. Who knows? Because
Well,
goodness knows our manager loves these platoons.
And his splits are perfect for Manager Hyde.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't. This is Merry Christmas, Manager Hyde. You couldn't gift wrapped a platoon player any better than the guy we got. So we'll get into that. And
All right.
two signings to this week.
Two. Have we ever had 2 signings in December? I mean, I'm sure we have.
I don't know. And people are making a big deal that this is
and that's
multi-year, at least the one.
Yeah, 3 years for Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, with an opt-out after 1 year, though. So it could be a deal.
A player opt-out. Right.
Yeah, player opt-out.
Yeah. But Zip projections came out this week as well. Now, I don't think it's fair to put the Zip projections out yet when we honestly don't have a full team yet. So the Zip numbers did not look good this week.
Oh, in terms really for the Orioles? Oh, it probably hates our starting pitching.
Well, we can get into it.
All right,
I'll have it ready for us to go after we talk about the 2 new free agents we just signed.
Yeah.
I also had a conversation with Austin Hayes' agent this week. Looks like there's no phone call coming from Baltimore to bring Austin back.
Well, we're looking for a right-handed outfielder. Tyler O'Neill is that. So is Austin Hayes.
Yep.
And we chose Tyler O'Neill over Austin Hayes.
Instead, I guess Austin was cleaning out his garage of some Orioles stuff. So I got a all-star hat of his sent down to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
man, I hope he signs. I feel like he's the classic guy who's really tough for him now, right?
But there's phone calls.
All right.
He's gonna wind up somewhere.
All right. I don't think he's gonna be is he gonna be a platoon guy? Is he gonna be an everyday guy with the team?
I haven't looked.
Yeah.
I haven't looked. I would assume he's a platoon guy at this point.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to prove his way in. But I'm sure there's teams that could use a little speed and an outfielder. He can play all 3 outfield positions. So why not?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Someone's gonna sign him.
And he seems like a high character guy. Like I want Austin Hayes on my team, and I'm gonna root for Austin Hayes wherever he lands.
Yeah, me too. It's a good guy.
Yeah, good guy.
But you want to talk about these 2.
You mentioned Tyler O'Neill.
They both came down Saturday night, which
Gary
is
Sanchez
odd.
with the other signing. I know Saturday night you're supposed to be relaxing. What's he doing working on Saturday night?
Yeah, I can tell you, Tyler O'Neill came in. The news broke at exactly 7:00 last night.
Okay, yeah, you guys. I didn't really. You guys were texting about it. I was not feeling it.
Yeah, you were
I've been dealing with the cold and stuff.
No. You've been avoiding Dad's texts for 2 days.
Wow. Also, we're playing each other this week on fantasy. He's crushing me. He hit me with the old bye week for all my Ravens players. So I had to start Jameis Winston as my quarterback. Didn't turn out very well.
Yeah, that's not very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can. And Gary Sanchez with the other guy. So I don't know where you stand on this, Josh. What was your initial reaction to Tyler O'Neill? You mentioned the platoon. Seems like a good fit. How are we feeling about Tyler O'Neill, part of this team?
When Tyler O'Neill name came in, I knew nothing about him.
I immediately went to Paul O'Neill, former Yankee.
Right. Well, I immediately saw that he was in a Red Sox jersey, and I went off that because I just started a live stream with Mike O'Mara, who's a Red Sox fan.
Okay, yeah.
So I instantly asked him, and he said it's a great fit for us. He said that power is what you want. So I know that top of our list was a power right-handed hitter. And we're bringing the wall in to help out that power right-handed hitter. So this seems like a great guy to platoon. He's got the splits where he's not going to be an everyday player, but I'm okay with that because I feel like with Kerstedt, we want to see Kerstedt more, which means we want more of a platoon. And this means Anthony is not coming back. So I'm happy with it. I like this move.
Even if it means Anthony is not coming back.
Yes, because I think it's a cheaper option to still give you power and give you power on the other side of the plate. And you were definitely questioning how much to spend on Anthony when you had some depth in the outfield that you thought could play pretty well. And now with the platoon situation, you can give them time to work in.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to think about this in terms of Tyler O'Neill being, I mean, certainly a significant upgrade over someone like Austin Slater, right? Who was here.
Right.
Um, and so that is
or even Austin Hayes.
right. And even Austin Hayes, and certainly like Ryan McKenna, who started the year last year, like those are the right-handed other options. And so this upgrade. If you look at this as a replacement for Santander, that's a little less exciting.
Yeah, but it's also when we looked at maybe we won't keep Santander because we have prospects coming. We want to get Kjerstad a chance. He wasn't going to get a chance with Anthony out there.
Yes, and I'm a big Kjerstad guy, so part of me is happy about this because this does mean more potential playing time for Kjerstad, especially against right-hand hitters. And we mentioned before, but the stats last year, and this is true for his entire career. It's not as extreme as last year, but it's true for his entire career. He's a lefty masher. So last year, batted .313 against lefties in 128 at bats, had 16 home runs. He had more home runs against lefties than he did against righties, even though he had more than double the plate appearances against righties. He did lefties. So he's just like a lefty masher. Hits high average. I mean, his career is 270 against righties. Last year, 313 against righties. I'm sorry, against lefties. 270 against lefty for his career. So he hits really well for average and power against lefties. B, like we acknowledged that we lacked some power from from our right-handed hitters, and so he addresses that, especially when you have the loss of Santander, who was as a switch hitter was one of our most powerful hitters against lefties, and so it addresses that need. You also have the wall being moved in, so hopefully that helps as well. So all that makes sense. And any thoughts, Josh, on it being a 3-year deal and the amount of money?
I think you had to prove that he's not a placeholder. You needed to give him 3-year deal because I think he didn't want to be like, oh, I'm just here for a year platooning. I think he wanted to be in a town for more than 1 year, and I think that player option is if he doesn't get the playing time he likes, or if he has this outstanding year, he thinks he is owed more money. So that's what that's about.
Oh yeah, and that's simple. I mean, if you have a great year, obviously, if you have a down year, you'll be here. So it's almost like if he's still in the team next year, like maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know, right? Because if he has a great year, hopefully he'll opt out.
Right. I mean,
if you look at the money, like I always go to Fangraphs to give me some idea because they crowdsource projected salaries for all these free agents, and they're usually pretty close, but almost always the actual contract is larger, right? Like their crowdsourced contract for Juan Soto is $585 million. I think it's going to go way over, right? And the majority, I would say for 90% of free agencies, they go over what crowdsource projects.
Right.
For Tyler O'Neill, though, they had him projected as 3 years, $51 million. And so we ended up signing him 3 years, $49.5 million. So just a little bit under actually what the crowdsource number was. And another kind of way to look at it, and this is what I kind of looked at it too, is if we just look in terms of outfielders, who is available based on projected WAR next year, so overall talented player, and then we get rid of the lefties because we're not interested in lefties. Santander is ahead of him at 2.5 projected WAR, projected for next year. Teoscar Hernandez at 2.3 projected WAR, and then Tyler O'Neill is the third best. I'm sorry, Jerson Profar was there, and then fourth was Tyler O'Neill, so he's kind of the fourth best in terms of projected WAR.
And if you're comparing him just straight to Anthony last year had a 2.9, and he has a 2.6 WAR.
Yeah, so very similar.
Batting average, Anthony was where's his 235, and he was 241 batting average. OBP 308 for Anthony, 336 for O'Neill. So, there's some spots where O'Neal's a better hitter. Anthony had 44 home runs. O'Neal had 31. So a little less power, but we're bringing that wall in. So who knows?
Yeah.
And overall, there's this, when you look at, and I haven't done enough stats, but when you look at 2021, which was not that long ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, going into this season, he had a 6.1 ERA with
off
the
the
Cardinals.
charts, wild.
Yeah, he was in the MVP run-in. I don't think he won the MVP.
Yeah,
did he?
with St. Louis. No, he didn't. But yeah, he had a great year.
Yeah, and he had just this amazing year, and that was not that long ago. And I think that's something to be excited about too. Is it's not we've brought in so many lousy outfielders that this guy's actually decent.
Yeah. If you look at his numbers last year too, and I don't have the Santander's numbers in front of me, but he only had 473 at bats. He only played in 113 games and had this 31 home runs. So the home runs even might have been closer to even if he played more games.
Let's see. He played. Santander was in 155 games.
How
so
many
you're
at
right.
bats? Yeah.
He had 665 plate appearances.
Okay, so that's 200 more plate appearances.
So you're right. So he could have passed with the same playing time. He could have passed Santander.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's a very shrewd move. This is classic Mike Elias, because I'm just telling you, like, if you think Tyler O'Neal's an overpay, wait till you'll see Anthony Santander, his contract, even Teoscar Hernandez's contract. Like, I think Tyler O'Neill will fall significantly under Teoscar Hernandez and Santander's contract. So,
well, what's Santander's projected like 5 years, 150 or something, right?
yeah, well, he turned down a $21 million qualifying offer, which is already
right.
More than. But according to Fangraphs, their crowdsource has about 4 years, 80 million.
Okay, so 20 million a year, 4 years, and this is
16.5 million a year.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, and I think Santander could go for more than 480.
He could,
but we'll see.
He could. It's Santander is not going to sign until Soto gets signed. Once Soto's off the board, then teams will have some money to pay him as their runner-up.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's true. And people keep on saying Soto's going to happen any day, but
they said it might happen. Might happen before the winter meetings.
Yeah. Well, I think they can't now because the winter meetings have started. So
I think they started today, right?
Yeah.
But they did say today that it is up to 730 million that either the Mets or the Yankees is offering.
Oh, really? How much of that with 700 million deferred or something?
Right.
Contracts
yeah,
now.
the deferred contracts is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's crazy that Soto is going to get a bigger deal than Ohtani.
Yeah, I know. It makes Ohtani's deal look like a steal.
Yeah, and like, who would you want to have? You want to have Ohtani.
Ohtani. Yeah.
No matter what, it's Ohtani all the time.
Yeah, it makes me, and this is part of, I think, partly because Juan Soto is far and above the best hitter available, maybe the best hitter in baseball.
Right.
And so it makes sense. Santander is not on the same level at all as Juan Soto, right?
No,
so there's there's no one else in free agency like Juan Soto as far as a hitter goes. That's part of it. I also wonder, though, just every year the price goes up. Like, I was thinking about this, like, if I was Juan Soto, like, wouldn't I be tempted? And I guess players do this.
Do a 3-year deal.
Do a 1 year, like, do what Tyler O'Neill did, like a 1 year opt out, or like just sign a 2-year deal. Because he's young enough too, where it's not like some of these other players are older, so you could see, but he's 26.
Well, you know why they do the 10-year deals, the 20-year deals, because in baseball the money's guaranteed.
I get that. But if you sign, like, let's say he does a 2-year deal for $100 million or something, he could probably get $800 million, right?
Well, that's why Tyler O'Neill agreed to whatever it was, $17 million, but has a player opt out after 1 year because he says, if I can get back to that MVP caliber, I'll leave here and make big money.
Yeah, which I think on one level, like, all the leverage then is with the players, and you see this more and more in contracts, and you get it. Like, if I was a player too, I do that too, right? Like, give me an opt out every year. But I think there is some incentive too for the Orioles in that it's some real motivation for Tyler O'Neill, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
He's not. He can't coast. and then just
Right.
try hard his third year. Like, he's got all the incentive in the world to have a great year so he can opt out and get an even better deal, which he will if he has a great year.
Yeah. And if he takes us to that World Series, go ahead. I'm all right with you leaving.
Yeah, I'm curious to see this. So I'm assuming we're going to have a lot of platooning with Kjerstad and Santander, though I also think that Tyler O'Neill will play more than just against lefties because he's going to move around different positions in the outfield. So when someone needs a break in the outfield, he'll move around.
Yeah, you can go anywhere.
And so I think he'll play more than just against lefties. But I do wonder if the combined stats between Kjerstad and O'Neill will be better than the stats for Santander. I'm bullish thinking they will be better than the Santander stats, but
yeah, and
we'll
I
wait
think
and see.
No, and I agree with you because of the shorter wall. And you're right. We have suddenly it's not he's just platooning with Kjerstad. It's he can play all three positions, platoon with all three outfielders. Plus, we've got the DH slot. So he's going to get plenty of playing time as long as he's hitting the ball well.
Yeah, and he is a better outfielder than Santander. At least that's what people say. That's what I think what the numbers show. And so it's also an upgrade defensively. I mean, our outfield's looking pretty good with the Cowser, Mullins, and O'Neill out there.
And every time we go to Boston, we'll throw him in left field, let him deal with the monster.
Yeah,
he's got plenty of experience.
Yeah, I assume he'll play right because I assume they'll.
I would think right most
stay
of the
Cowser at
time.
left.
Yeah,
because they like him there. I assume.
Agreed.
All right. So we like this. We feel good about this, but we know the work's not done yet. But we feel good about this.
It's a great start. I would say it's a good start. No, you know what? I'm going to stick with great start because when I look back at previous Orioles off seasons, we've had nothing to talk about by this time. And here we signed a guy that's a legit helps the team. Yeah. It's not, well, whatever. He doesn't move the meter. This guy does. And if anything, it gets us back to the level that we were at with Santander, I think.
Yeah. You pair this with a Nathan Eovaldi signing and now we're rolling. But I still want to see what we do in that starting pitching market because I mentioned that crowdsource numbers, the pitching, I'll just tell you right now, the pitching has gone, the crowdsource numbers, the actual contracts have come well above the crowdsource numbers in terms of pitching contracts. Pitching is expensive. This is nothing new, but almost no matter who you sign, you're going to be overpaying somebody.
And that's the problem is we did you see the story that came out? I know we've got another free agent to get to, but did you see the story come out about the Orioles resisting going after Max Fried or some of the other guys that they would have to give up a draft pick for?
I saw that, and that would be like our third draft pick going down to the 30s. I can't believe that's really true. You think that's really true?
It would. I don't think it would be. It's reluctant to pursue quality.
What's the source here? Is this AI?
Let's see. Who put this out? Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon of The Athletic put this out. The club is reluctant to pursue qualified free agents from other clubs, which would kind of take them away from Fried and Manet and Pivetta. Now,
see, that's
here's
concerning.
my problem.
That's concerning.
Yes and no. Yes, if it's true. But my problem is it comes from Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon, great baseball guys, but guys that also have been around with the old Orioles organization, and maybe they're doing things differently now.
Maybe, but on the other hand, Mike Elias does have a reputation of loving his prospects.
Yes, but we traded some prospects last year for Burns. And remember, if it turns out that the Fried and these other guys are going to be pretty expensive and not that much of a discount from Burns, why wouldn't you then just sign Burns and not give anyone up? Just spend the extra money with the guy you know.
It's true, and that's the guy you don't lose.
Right. You don't lose a draft pick. So I'm sure they got to take that into account as they're. I would hope that they've at least had the conversation with Burns of, at least come back to us before you sign with someone else. Let us know what it's taking the dollar sign.
Yeah. I mean, the
Kinda-
top.
I believe we heard that with Bisciotti and Ray Lewis when Ray Lewis was a free agent. Go on out there and listen to the Cowboys, but come back and talk to me first. So
Yeah.
I hope Elias has something like that up his sleeve.
I do too. I mean, if you get away from the qualifying offers, the next top pitchers then are Nathan Eovaldi, who I think would be a great signing.
Yep.
Jack Flaherty, who I don't want any.
I want nothing to do with Jack Flaherty.
And then you get down to Max Scherzer, Alex Cobb, no, not Sean Manaea.
No. I think you're then
Kyle
trading.
Gibson.
No, you're trading. You're making a move. In which case you're giving up prospects. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if the Orioles feel like they need a 1 or 2, then those guys are Corbin Burns and Max Fried. That's kind of where the list ends.
Right. There were rumors that we were talking to Blake Snell before he signed with the Dodgers, but nothing has leaked out about numbers or what we were offering.
Okay. And he didn't have a qualifying offer.
No, but
so maybe that was true.
You're right. Maybe that doesn't support my argument.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk about the other guy we signed?
Yeah, that other guy.
We signed a former Red Sox and a former Yankees. We're taking the enemies here.
Yeah. All right. So Gary Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's He's in like his 8th or 9th year. No, 10 years.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. I was surprised by his age. He's 32. I thought he was actually older. I thought he was like 35 because I feel like he played for the Yankees for years and years, forever. Yeah. And then I know recently he's played for a couple of different teams. But
people love to point out that he was Rookie of the Year in 2016, or in the discussion for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he had a couple great years, 2016, 2017. He had some great years.
Yeah. His best year, he had a WAR of 4.
Yeah.
Last year, he was 0.2. So, but he only he got in 89 games last year, so only 280 plate appearances, 11 home runs, a 220 batting average. The problem is, I think, I don't. This is a guy that if this happened in January, February, I would have said, fine, you need a backup. Fine. And that's how I see this. It's fine. It's veteran presence. I think Oriole fans celebrate James McCann a little too much. I don't think James McCann was that great of a backup either.
Well, and the reality of James McCann is he's 34 years old, going into that season where he's going to be 35 years old.
Right.
And I mean, he hasn't had a year where he's had above 1 WAR or above, even according to Fangraphs WAR. His best WAR year is since 2021 is 0.3. And so he's not good. And if you want to say James McCann is okay as a backup, fine, we can get on board. And if you want to say, well, Corbin Burns like to pitch to him, and okay, fine. If you want to say like he's was a good leader, and that's fine too. But in terms of like production as a baseball player,
right, it's about the same.
Not hard to replace.
No, a 0.8 WAR last year. He only played in 65 games last year.
Wait. How are you getting your WAR numbers, Josh? Are you on Baseball Reference?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm on Fangraphs, so we're getting a little bit different WAR numbers.
Okay. All right. I'm just calculating it here on pen and paper. I do it all manually.
You do the whole math yourself.
Yeah, okay. I do the whole math. I don't even understand WAR.
Well, that's where I'm at with this thing too, Josh, because I feel like I look at James McCann's numbers and Gary Sanchez's numbers.
It looks like the same guy.
They seem very similar to me. But if you look at like Fangraphs WAR, for example, in 2023, so just the year before last, the Gary Sanchez had a WAR of 1.6. The year before that, 1.4, according to Fangraphs. The year before that, 1.1. So the past, not including this year, 2024, but 2023, 2022, 2021, he had a WAR over 1.
Yeah.
And for
And
all
I
those same
see.
years, it's been, according to Fangraphs, 0.3, 0.1, 0.3, 0.2 for
Yep.
James McCann. So if you look at the WAR, and another nerd stat is, if you look at offense, a lot of people like the runs created plus stat,
Yeah.
and the runs created plus stat is much, much better for Gary Sanchez. It looks pretty good for Gary Sanchez, and
No,
much better than James McCann.
especially if you look before 2024. Correct.
But even at 2023, it looks pretty
That's
good.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. 2023 looks great.
Where for James McCann, you got to go back to 2020 to
Yes.
get a good year.
Right. So
And
I
he's
think
older
that's
too. Yeah.
right. And that's where I'm saying, like, I like the move. It's James McCann for a younger James McCann. But I think this
With
guy's a
more
little
power.
bit better, a little more
With more
power.
power. Yeah.
So it's just okay. It's nothing to be excited about because it's a backup catcher. But it's also, we need a backup catcher. So it's not the fun excitement part, but it's a hole that we had to fill.
Yeah, if you look at, again, if you go to just, I'm just looking at Fangraphs projected WAR in terms of other catchers out there. The top guy out there was, according to projected WAR for next year, is Carson Kelly, who might find a starting job somewhere, and then Yasmani Grandal. Yasmani Grandal.
Well, and that's definitely the Baltimore thing is we have Adley Rutschman. So you're not going to bring in a star catcher. You're bringing in guys who are on the back ends of their career.
Yeah.
There to be a backup.
Yeah. And the next guy on that list that's available was Gary Sanchez. So he was kind of the third best catcher in free agency according to projected WAR for next year. And he was higher, by the way, than James McCann's projected WAR for next year as well, according to Fangraphs. So, I mean, who knows, right? You can't.
That's what I'm saying. I see all these people upset about this move. And when I start to compare stats, it's a fine move.
It's an upgrade. It could be an upgrade. I don't know, like maybe leadership wise or some of these intangible things, you could say it's a downgrade. I mean, defensively, I don't think James McCann was excellent. I know Gary Sanchez is not excellent defensively, but I don't think James McCann was excellent defensely. Relationship with pitchers, maybe a downgrade.
Maybe ball to the face, McCann's better.
Yeah, toughness.
Yeah,
toughness. You give NCH McCann, but in terms of just like if you're Mike Elias and you're just crunching numbers, you have upgraded the backup catcher position objectively. This is objectively an upgrade.
That's what I'm saying.
You just look at the numbers.
But people are upset about it because it's not James McCann, because in their head, James McCann is this better player that's not real. It's those orange colored glasses. Got to take them off once in a while. Or I like our guys.
Because, I don't know, I saw our boy, who's our boy, Josh? We had on here a few weeks ago.
No idea. Pigtown Sports?
Yeah.
Zach?
Yeah, he was a fan, I think, of Diaz because of I think he looked at some of the stats and the splits and stuff. And that's fine. Like, if you have guys that you like, I get that.
Yeah, but Diaz might even have a shot to get on a starting position.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious what happens to James McCann. I'm curious if somebody takes on James McCann. I assume, I don't know what the demand is for backups. I kind of assume he'll get a backup somewhere, but I don't even know if that's true.
McCann might just get a minor league deal somewhere.
Yeah, with a spring training invite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The other thing, and this is, do we know what's the details on this contract? Do you have those numbers?
It's a 1 year, like $8 million, right?
Yeah, it sounds right.
This is. See if I can pull this up real quick.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot here. It's fine. I was just curious compared to. I can pull it up too, but I mean the fact is, I think the important takeaway is the 1 year deal.
$8.5 million 1 year.
Yeah. And we know it's a 1 year deal, and we all are rooting for 1 year deals here because in 2 years, we're going to have a much better catcher here anyway. So it's just a 1 year thing.
Right. In 2 years, Adley can become the backup.
Yeah, exactly. No, Adley will become a star again, and so we won't.
And that's the key when you look at this catching position for the Orioles. That's the key for this upcoming season is Adley's got to do better.
Yeah. And in terms of like, I saw some people, yeah, I don't know. In terms of an overpay, I always kind of hate that discussion because, I mean, it's not your money, and now we have an owner to spend money. So I hope people use overpay as an insult, and I'm like, no, like if we have to overpay for a starting pitcher, if we have to overpay for these key guys, let's overpay for everybody. I'm all on board with overpaying.
Yeah, me too.
Because people say they over, and you do. I mean, all these
But
players,
everybody overpays.
Yeah, so everyone else is overpaying. All the other teams are doing it, so I want my team to overpay. So people might say Gary Sanchez overpay, and maybe it is. I don't know, but I want him on my team. So I like this. I like this move. I like this upgrade. And also just one more talk about the being overpay. Fangraphs has this other interesting stat looking at like how much money a player was worth each year.
Yeah.
And this is kind of interesting. And they said Tyler O'Neill last year with Boston was worth $19.9 million. So we got him for a little less than
what he was worth last year.
Than what he was worth last year. Though that great year he had in 2021, they say he's worth $42 million, which is kind of insane. But yeah, so that's so it sounds like the money sounds right for that. For Gary Sanchez, maybe a little bit overpay, but again, I don't care. Like, would my feelings change about the Gary Sanchez signing? Is if it was $8.5 million versus $4 million? No, I don't care how much they pay the backup catcher,
Right?
Unless it prevents us from signing someone else, which this does not do that, especially with new ownership. So,
yeah, and when you look at a team as a whole now, and when you look at like here's the Zips projections I was telling you about.
Okay. Oh, Dan Zabrowski, this guy.
Yeah. Dan Zabrowski's the Zips guy over at Fangraphs.
Yeah, I know he is.
And we also know he's an Orioles hater.
Well, he's an Orioles fan turned hater. Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't checked in on him since Angelos left. That might help out things. But it's interesting to look at how most of our infield positions is 3+ on our Zips projections.
Yeah,
and
good.
even our relievers is 3.9 as a whole. It's really that starting pitching where you see holes.
Well, and this doesn't take into account O'Neill, right?
This does not take into account O'Neill. So O'Neill, you would think, would increase.
So right now they have the backup to Kerstedt being Taz Cameron, and
yes.
and O'Neill is a huge upgrade over Cameron. So that 2.6 is going to be up in the threes.
Yeah, exactly. So when you put that up, you're going to get right field's going to jump up to 3 or 3 point. We're probably going to be a 3.4, 3.1, 3.1.
Josh crunches the numbers right now. He's doing the math.
Yeah. We got third base with Westbrook at 3.6, Henderson at 6.1, Holiday at 3.4. It shows weakness at first base with Mountcastle and O'Hearn there at 1.6, but it doesn't take into account bringing that right field wall in or left field wall in. So that might help out Mountcastle's numbers.
Yeah. I mean, the first base is going to be interesting to watch this year because the other thing is Kobe Mayo, right?
Yeah.
Who could potentially play first base. So he's also the wild card. But yeah, I think this is a big year for Ryan Mountcastle. And O'Hearn for that matter.
Yeah, and I think the Zips, when you add it all together, like an average team, I think it's like 46 points. And then or 47 points. And the team that they put together for the Orioles earlier this week on Zips was like 46 points. And you know that's without us. We're going to sign a pitcher. We just improved our outfield. So we're going to be at that. We're probably going to bump that Zips projection up from 46 to more like 50 when it's all said and done. And that can push you into the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, if you look at the Zips, I was just thinking, look at the starters, Eflin, Rodriguez, Kramer, which is okay. But then you get Povich, Suarez, Rogers, McDermott.
Oh yeah,
I have no confidence in any of those guys.
yeah,
And so Eflin feels like a 2. And so you feel like you need a 1 in there. And what's not included in there, and I don't know how they account for this, but I mean, in July, hopefully, right, Kyle Bradish will return.
right.
So hopefully that would be a little bump, and Tyler Wells, hopefully too.
Yeah.
But
And that's where it gets interesting, because if you look at last year's Zips and how they set it up, they had Rodriguez in there with 2.4. They've got him still at 2.4 now. Don't they? Or no? They've got him
2.7.
bumped up to a 2.7, so he increased. But like Bradish is in here at 3 and 3.3, and right now he's not even on the team until midseason.
Right. And that's going to be nice. I mean, that'd be like we always talk about trade deadline acquisitions. It's going to be like we get a nice acquisition there.
Yeah.
But then you look at this rotation too, and you think, and this again is why we need to sign probably 2 pitchers,
Yes.
but definitely 1. And that's because, well, what if Rodriguez has had a couple injuries, right? What if he goes down? What if Kramer goes down? All of a sudden, Rogers, who couldn't do anything, right,
No,
becomes that number 5 guy.
We need a number 1 to replace Burns slot or Burns back, and then we need a second one to handle injuries and depth because we have so many guys injured. And if that means that in June, July, as guys come back, we have to go with a 6-man rotation, all that's going to do is preserve arms.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the old adage that you can't have too much starting pitching.
Right.
I mean, we see that true all the time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, when you look at the list of how many pitchers started a game for the Orioles last year, I think it was like 25 different guys started a game, which is ridiculous. So, yeah, you can never have too many.
Yeah. So let's get Nathan Eovaldi. He can slide. I mean, he'll probably slide in. I mean, his projected WAR is 2.8, which is right under Eflin's 2.9.
All right.
We can, talk about that. And
well, maybe we can get him.
Just
and
because
Burns.
Josh likes him, let's get Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer. How about Burns and Scherzer?
Okay, fine. I just don't see it happening with Burns. I've kind of mentally, Josh, emotionally moved on off Burns. I don't see the Orioles doing that.
I don't know. I go back and forth. And then the problem is the moves the Orioles make yesterday can convince me of, well, yeah, those are good fills, but they're not expensive fills, so they're saving their money for Burns. But then I can also look at the same moves and say, well, they're not expensive moves. They're not going to spend any money this offseason. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you give me Eovaldi and Roki Sasaki, and then let's print the World Series tickets.
Yeah. And I'm saying we moved the wall to recruit a right-hand bat. You know what else would help? Saying we bring Burns back.
Oh, I thought you were going to say move the wall back to sign the pitcher. Now that we signed the hitter, now move the wall back, sign the pitcher.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. We've already got you under contract. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So
I don't know. Do you think the Orioles will sign anyone the next 4 days at these winter meetings?
I'm really curious to see what happens, because it's not possible. Our roster's too good to not fill in the gaps at starting pitching. We have to do something. So that what are we going to do? And if Ken Rosenthal convinces me that we're not going to go after a true number 1, like a Max Fried or your boy Corbin Burns, then maybe the answer is the trade market, like we did last year. I mean, that's what we did last year. We didn't sign. We traded for our number 1 guy. And so maybe we look like that. We have less assets this year in the minors than we do. Right. Because not just him, but, the action we did at the trade deadline.
And that's right. And that could be one thing that we're working on. Besides signing free agents at these winter meetings, we could be talking about trades.
Yes. But my concern is that if we don't go the top line guys, now all of a sudden we're looking at value guys. We're looking at guys maybe we don't have a bounce back.
No, we've had our time with value guys. I'm done with value guys.
Yeah. And And if we're again, if our starting pitch rotation looks like it does now, I'm going to be concerned. So, I hope we get something done. And I mean, because every week that goes by, it's not like a flood, but every week that goes by, I mean, who was it? I think Luis Severino, the Athletics, picked up this week. I mean, every week there's like I feel like one more in the top 20 starting pitchers. One more guy goes off the list each week. And every time it happens, like when Luis Severino was picked up by the Athletics of all teams, you're like, oh man, there's another guy. And there's not an unlimited number. There's actually a very limited number of pitchers that are quality pitchers that we can count on and rely on.
Right.
And every week, one of those goes away. So yeah, I hope the Orioles do something.
Well, in 2022, we did announce during the winter meetings that we signed Kyle Gibson for that $1 million or 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah, it's a free agent again. We do that again.
Yeah, and we signed Kimbrel last year during the winter meetings.
Okay.
So we have done things in the winter meetings.
Yeah, I mean the bullpen too. Like, we haven't really talked about it, but we could use another bullpen arm. I think that's not. I mean, goodness knows, I would love to see some Tanner Scott in my bullpen, but
yeah, of course.
Obviously, our priority now is starting pitching
and Soroka.
Oh yeah, Mike Soroka. Yeah, let's bring in.
Yeah, I'd like him as well.
Soroka. Absolutely.
So right. The only thing we know is we will not take anyone on the Rule 5 draft. We can't just hide someone on our roster for a year.
Yeah, and this is a testament to how far we've come, where we do not have extra room on our 40-man.
Yep.
To just hide a Rule 5 guy, which is good because we have talented players in all the 40-man spots.
Right.
So,
but isn't it nice that it's just we get to talk baseball and baseball moves are happening? And Soto isn't going to sign with the Orioles, but he's probably going to get announced this week. And then that's going to unlock a lot of other things.
Yeah, no, it's not. I feel like, I mean, how many rumors did we hear about Tyler O'Neill before he signed with the Orioles? How many rumors did we hear about the Orioles? Yeah, the Orioles, especially with Mike Elias, they feel
How
very
many rumors were there
tight-lipped.
Before we traded for Corbin Burns last year?
None.
Right.
None. It just announced.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we're going to hear any rumors. Now, with these big name guys like Corbin Burns, like Juan Soto, like Roki Sasaki, I wish our name was mentioned more.
Right.
As if even if we didn't really sign Juan Soto, I would like to meet with him and see, okay, here's what we can offer you because I paid this much for Pandas. I will pay for you what I paid for the Pandas plus X.
Right, exactly. And let players know that we're willing to meet with anyone and pay anyone. Like,
right, because this is new, or this should be new. Because before we weren't, and everyone knew we weren't in the running for these guys.
I would have
now we should be in the running.
I would have Dave Rubenstein with me at the winter meetings, just still going around showing him off. Look, I got a new money bags right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's my new sugar daddy.
Remind everybody we got new ownership.
Yep.
And someone in the comments, and I agree, part of the free agency is you would like to see some movement on, Gunnar Henderson extension.
Yes, but I want to take care of holes first. Right now, my priority is get me some pitching. Like if we could sign Burns or someone during these winter meetings, then great. We can spend all of January working on these extensions for Gunnar, and I am not ready for an extension for Adley.
Until the TikTok girlfriend situation is handled, huh?
Well, until he steps up. He gained weight and struggled last year. And I know I bring it up because you laugh every time I say he gained weight, but he did. He did. He got a little chubby, and we also saw him struggle at his numbers.
Josh is already on spring training picture watch.
Oh, I definitely will be. Definitely will be.
They should do weigh-ins at the first day of spring training and share the weigh-ins with everybody. Do like the combine stuff with all the players. Get all the stats down.
But either way, Adley needs to improve before I'm ready to give him that extension, especially because I have high hopes for Basallo as well.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Gunnar is
it's
clear
going to be interesting
ready.
to watch Basallo's year in the minors. and how he performs. There's like I'm really intrigued by all these young players. Like last year was so funky for Kobe Mayo and even for Kerstad and definitely for Jackson Holiday. It was just funky years. And I'm really curious to see. Like I assume Holiday will bounce back. I assume
that's when we were getting
really well in
the dugout rumors of the old class versus the new class, and that's kind of cleaned some of that up right now.
Yeah, that's not. I feel like that's not an issue.
And I feel like that's not an issue right now.
No,
in this season.
Yeah, we like Jackson Holiday is coming in as your starting second baseman.
Right. Exactly.
I feel most of the positions are set.
And
I assume they had conversations with O'Neill in terms of playing time.
Right. And guys like, they've had play. I'm sure they talked about O'Neill playing time. I'm sure they talked to Urias about playing time.
Oh, yeah. I think Urias is on board. I mean, he knows what
exactly. They all know what's going on. And I think everyone's on board now. This is the future.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The only potential fight is the Mountcastle Mayo fight. That could still.
Yeah.
Is Mountcastle blocking Mayo?
Right. But let's hope Mountcastle's numbers go up and Mayo actually proves that he can be on a big league squad, because we haven't seen it from him yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure either one of them will be perfectly fine in the DH spot as long as they're hitting the ball well.
Yeah. Yeah. You showed me. I mean, you roll out a lefty against the Orioles, and that used to be our weak spot. Now we can hit that lefty with a Mountcastle, O'Neill, a Mayo, not to mention the guys that we all got like Westberg.
Right.
It's looking. We got some hitters. We got some guys who can take some guys deep.
And Westberg's the guy everyone's sleeping on, in my opinion, because he did not get all the credit he deserved for last year and how good of a year he had. And that part of when the Orioles went in that deep slump was when he got hurt.
Yeah. I think the injury took a little bit of shine away from his incredible year last year.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Colton Cowser too, right? I think Colton Cowser is set up to have a really big year. I know he kind of had a down kind of couple months there in the middle of the season, but I think he's set up to have a really nice year.
I think so too. And it's like I said, it's just fun to have the winter meetings back, baseball moving. I texted you last week and said, hey, let's take a few days off because there's nothing to talk about. And thank you, Mike Elias, for giving us some stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah, busy Saturday night, that's for sure. I was at we do the lights down here in Macon on Saturday night, so I was out seeing all the Christmas lights in downtown Macon.
Yeah, I was like I said, I had the Michael Mayer live stream on Saturday night, so I think it might be the first time where I got my Orioles news because the MLB app told me.
Oh, really?
But no one told me before the MLB app. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it till you guys texted.
Yeah. But hey, I can't wait to get the text when we sign that number one pitcher.
All right. Well, we'll keep on waiting. We'll keep on waiting. In the meantime, I at least want a little hot stove action, a little bit of rumors in the winter meetings. Give me some tea here.
Yeah, but that's what you said. The Orioles don't talk, which is why.
What about your boy, Austin's agent? Doesn't he represent other guys? Can he get some?
I checked. Nothing that works with the Orioles. I already checked on all his guys.
All right, fine.
And trust me, I went that route.
Okay.
Went down the whole list.
Even if he can report other stuff like a fight between agents.
I asked. He's not even going this week.
He's not going to the winter meetings.
No.
All right. Are you going to go?
No. Where is it? It's in Houston, right?
Yeah. I thought you'd travel anywhere.
Yeah, but no. Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
My next trip is.
Do fans go to the winter meetings? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I think a lot of people go because it's like a trade show for baseball too. So it's like where they can see the latest robotic umpires or turf technologies and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know if fans can go to the winter meetings. What would your fan do?
I feel like I've been in this world recently because just this past month or in November and last week, we had the National Council of Teachers of English, the biggest conference, in the U.S.
of all the
English
nerds.
teachers.
Yeah.
And then of all the nerds. And then last week, I went to Atlanta where we had the Literacy Research Association with like the biggest literacy conference.
Okay.
And all these big names in literacy are there. And so the conference life I'm very familiar with it right now.
Is the when you go to those literacy conferences, is the trade show kind of like people set up with their books trying to get buyers for their books?
NCT is like that. NCT is like that, and a lot of people signing autographs, and like everyone's giving away books. You can get so many books for free there. But the literacy is really, I mean, I cannot describe to you how mind-numbingly boring it is. It's literally just people. You just go from room to room, and people share their research paper and share their data and share their methods and how they went about analysis their methods. It is bonkers.
See, my trade shows in the past were always consumer electronics shows, so it was all flashy lights.
Yeah, that's more exciting than
electronics, and it was more fun. Now I'm in the industry of podcasting, so I'm debating about going to a podcasting conference next.
Oh yeah, I assume there's podcast
next year. Yeah. There are podcast conferences, and
are you a member of any podcast associations?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not. And they are expensive conferences. And I'm like, do I really want to just walk around with other podcasters? I don't.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I was driving to Atlanta, sitting through traffic. I was like, I can't believe I paid $100 just to show up this one day.
I know. Yeah.
What am I doing with my life? But everyone else did too. I wasn't alone there. And goodness knows, that's the whole thing with academia.
Yep.
They just go so they can say they went to the conference and presented and put it on their resume.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, trust me. I got for some of these podcast conferences, I got the emails. Are you interested in speaking the conference? Which then does not make me want to attend the conference because they're just emailing people like me asking them to speak.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm going to GCTE next month, or no, in February, and I'm speaking. I got 2 speaking engagements there, so this is my life now. Go these
but I get that a little bit. I just think of a podcasting conference and asking people to speak. Well, everyone there wants to speak because they're all podcasters.
Right.
So it's odd.
Yeah, I would imagine too. It's a lot of like. There's less so here. There's some self-promotion, but I imagine a podcast conference,
it's a lot of going to be self-promotion.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I know some of them guys are making money, but I bet there's a lot of people there who are just doing the show out of their parents' basement.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But
you can recruit some more clients, though, Josh, right?
Well, yeah, that would be the reason for going. There's one this Wednesday in Jacksonville for Jacksonville podcasters.
Oh, wow.
I'm considering going. I'm considering it.
All right.
For
if you
business.
Do, report back.
I will.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
But hey,
we'll be back.
We'll be back here next week because there's going to be something from the winter meetings for us to talk about.
Yeah, if not Orioles related.
Someone's doing something.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we can get a little Ravens talk. There'll be some Ravens to talk about too. They had a bye week this week. Don't they play something like crazy, like 3 games in 10 days or something, I think?
Yeah, because they've got the crazy schedule with Christmas. So they play on the 15th, but they play the New York Giants. The problem is that's the Baltimore Ravens who love to play down to their clients, to their competition. Then they play on the 21st, where they have a Saturday night game.
Oh, the 21st, and then Christmas.
Which is the Steelers, and then they play the 25th against the Texans.
Yeah, that's correct.
And that's the Netflix game that everyone's concerned is going to stream like crap.
Hey, is this worth? I've seen a lot of the Simpsons stuff in Disney. Is it worth keeping my kid up tomorrow to watch this game or no? Do you know anything about this?
Yes, I've seen the ads. I doubt it, but I will tune in. I will turn it on for a little bit and check it out.
But the question is, do I keep Silas up to watch this?
I don't think so.
It's past his bedtime.
I don't think so, because I think the highlights of a couple plays might be just as entertaining.
Okay. And if you're appealing to kids, I don't know, 8:30 is a bit late.
Yeah. Have you done...
On a school night.
Have you seen the Major League Baseball will do like the 3D
play? Josh, we didn't talk about the Golden Bat Rule too, by the way.
Oh, yeah, the Golden Bat Rule, which the Bananas do, and I guess...
Oh, do they?
Yeah, yeah.
Did baseball steal this rule from Bananas?
They did. They stole this rule.
Are they going to have umpires on stilts next?
The Bananas introduced this last year, and I cannot believe that when talking about how some rules might be tweaked, you bring up the stupidest rule.
Yeah. Like I listened to Baseball Tonight, and they were talking about like when they first saw it, they were like, "Is this an Onion article? Is this real?" And it feels like this is a banana rule. Like how did a banana rule get like leaked into the MLB rule proposal? How did it even happen?
Pulled up at least 4 articles to make sure I wasn't reading an Onion article.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was fake.
Yeah. I mean, I've not seen anyone who has thought this was a good idea, right? Everyone to a man thinks it's ridiculous, right? Have you heard anyone try to defend this rule?
Maybe TikTokers, because the only thing it's good for, like, all right, here's the argument for it is, well, I'm going to go do other things instead of watch the game now because Ohtani won't be up for 2 to 3 innings. Versus, well, I need to sit here because Ohtani could be up at any time. And I get the TikTokable moments of the bases are loaded. Do I want Ryan Flaherty at bat or Chris Davis in his prime? I get all that. I get the excitement of yanking the guy out. But it completely screws with baseball. And it's like, if this rule is on the deck, then anything is on the deck. Like if you want to say in the 3rd inning, the right fielder plays with his blindfolded, that's on the deck now if you're bringing in the golden batter. That's how stupid this rule is.
Well, and I feel like it also, the reason, and I appreciate, and we talked about this before, like baseball should be trying to,
Oh, and I love rules. That. Football does great with that.
Yeah.
Outside the kickoff rule.
Yeah. Who cares? But but what's concerning about this is so like not just a bad idea, but it's like so antithetical to what makes baseball great. Like I think of Adam Frazier last year coming up, or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, 2 years ago, coming up in the 9th inning against the Rays and like Adam Frazier, the unlikely hero, or Delman Young, right? The unlikely hero.
Right. And what you
hear, that's part of what makes baseball cool is that you get these unlikely heroes at different parts of the lineup.
And what you hear in favor of this is, look at the NBA, look at soccer, look at NHL. You have a chance at the end of the game to put the ball in your best player's hands.
Right, promoting superstars, sure.
But that's not what baseball is. Baseball is the biggest team game.
Yeah.
Out of all of those.
You can't even get out. Well, it's hard to get out without another teammate.
Part of my problem with the NBA is it's a star-centered team. It's all about that one player on your team. And that's when I really stopped tuning in, when it was LeBron controlling his team and bringing the players he wants for his team. And what's the point of a coach if it's the star player? The super teams. And that we're getting the super teams.
Yeah, that's starting to be a problem in baseball.
Yes, that is. Yeah. That is. But I don't want it to be the best batter at the plate at the end. Then you might as well, next year, going to say, well, instead of extra innings, let's just do a home run derby. And that's not baseball either.
Yeah.
Well, all this stuff messes with baseball.
And the thing about NBA is you can bring 3 players together to make a super team. With baseball, I mean, we saw Trout and Ohtani together.
True.
It didn't matter. Like you need 10, 15, elite. And that's what the Dodgers are doing. I mean, the Dodgers are having like 15 elite guys, but like it's a lot harder in baseball, right? Because it's not 1, 2, 3 guys. You can have 3 elite guys and still lose, 100 games. You need a whole squad.
And all it would do is give us more reasons to be mad at Brandon Hyde.
Yeah, he would mess that up.
Yeah. Or he'd make the right move, but the guy would strike out, and then we'd be mad at him.
Yeah. We want managers to have less say and less power in the sport.
Right.
So any moves that give managers more power, more influence over the game and the outcome, we're as Oriole fans opposed to that until Buck Britton takes the helm, right?
Once Buck Britton's there, we're back in.
Yeah. All right. Glad we talked about that. Ridiculous. Sorry, someone leaked that. I'm sure that one's going in the dumpster.
There was no leak.
And maybe someone's getting fired.
There was no leak. Rob Manfred came on a podcast and talked about rule changes and said there's lots of interesting rules like the golden bat.
Right, but he said that to get people's reaction, right, before going forward.
Yeah.
It was a strategic.
All right, here's what I want to know. I want him to come out and tell me which owner wrote this down as a suggestion. How did this get on your list?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of ideas in that list. Like everyone can come up with ideas.
There's some owner.
We don't have to share
looking. There's some owner looking and saying the Bananas sell out all their games. We need to do some of this. We need to bring this into Major League Baseball. Yeah, we need a dancing umpire, and we need stilts and fire.
Fire. Yeah. All right, and shorts.
Yeah,
And jorts.
and music, TikTok dances.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here, Josh. You can follow us on all your social media apps. You can, including X, where you can follow me at Section336. You can follow Josh on X.
At Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's and go Ravens. Sign a pitcher.